According to the Bible, God said unto Noah, "Make thee an ark. Behold, I do bring a flood of waters upon the earth." No written word has survived as much skepticism as the story of Noah's Ark. A century ago, scholars dismissed it as a quaint old legend. Then, evidence of its authenticity began to appear. In 1870, a young British clerk found an ancient account of Noah. Recently, divers in Florida found human bones submerged by an Ice Age global flood. And now, climbers are risking their lives on treacherous Mount Ararat for the greatest archaeological prize of all, remains of Noah's Ark. The Bible says, "All the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of heaven were open. All the high hills that were under the whole heaven were covered." Most scholars thought Noah's flood was a parable. What if modern science could prove it true? A few feet of snow, a few days of rain can destroy a city. In Johnstown, Pennsylvania, after only 2 days of rain, the river rose 46 feet. 25 people were killed. When rivers burst their banks or tidal waves sweep onto land, the death toll can be staggering. Time and again in the 20th century, we've witnessed the awesome destructive power of a flood. The greatest legend of all is the flood. The story of Noah has been told in many fanciful ways. A recent recreation, The World That Perished, made by an organization called Films for Christ, tells the tale in a literal fashion. According to this recreation, Noah's Ark was 450 feet long. Such an enormous barge could contain enough animals to repopulate the earth. The Bible says Noah took 7 of every clean animal aboard. It rained for 40 days and nights, but the waters were on the earth more than a year. Bible scholars have estimated that the deluge would have killed 1 billion humans and 35 trillion animals. They say that is exactly what God intended, to erase a wicked, violent world. So, searching for proof of Noah's flood is like trying to solve the greatest mystery story of all time. Clues are everywhere and have been found in the most unexpected places. The modern search for Noah's Ark began in 1870 with George Smith, a British bank clerk. Tons of broken 4,000-year-old tablets had been dug up near the Persian Gulf and stored in the British Museum. Smith was translating the cuneiform writing when he noticed a line that sent chills up his spine. An old man named Utnapishtim took his family and all kinds of animals aboard the great boat, and the flood. The next piece was missing. Smith struggled with the puzzle for 9 years. When he published his findings, they created a sensation. The London Daily Telegraph raised enough money to send him back to Nineveh, where against all odds, he found the missing piece. The details were so exact, it seemed to confirm that Utnapishtim was just another name for Noah. It told of sending forth a dove, then a raven, to test for dry land, and the great boat landing on a mountain. The Bible says, "And the ark rested upon the mountains of Ararat." For more than 2,000 years, mountain climbers have told of a huge ancient boat hidden in the glaciers of a mountain called Ararat near the Russian-Turkish border, and now surrounded by top-secret missile sites. In the last 30 years, several research teams have braved the storms and avalanches to hunt an elusive prize. Many people thought this picture caught a glimpse of Noah's Ark, but it turned out to be just a boulder. Some observers have seen the Ark in a tiny blip on this satellite photo, but an active imagination can see many things. In 1969, members of the Search Foundation climbed Ararat with modern equipment. Risking their lives in a crumbling crevasse at 14,000 feet, they managed to film an incredible find. Beams of hand-hewn wood were discovered. A piece of Noah's Ark would be the greatest archaeological find of all time and would discredit the theory of evolution. Hoping to date the wood to 5,000 years ago, the Search Foundation sent samples to Rinder Berger, professor of geophysics at UCLA and a world leader in radiocarbon dating.
It consists of oak wood that is very dark. It looks like it has been exposed to lots of water or meltwater. And obviously it must have been brought onto Mount Ararat because it's way above the timberline where that piece was found. These reports of wood being 5,000 years old from Mount Ararat, I think, are erroneous. A number of my colleagues and I have separately dated separate pieces of wood from there and found it to originate from around 700 to 900, in other words, the Middle Ages.
Although some scientists challenge the validity of radiocarbon dating, the presence of the Ark on Ararat has not been confirmed. There is, however, overwhelming evidence for the flood. 19th century scientists delighted in poking holes in the story of Noah. For a time, the theory of evolution seemed to sink the Ark for good. Many 20th century scientists, however, have come to believe in the story of Noah and the Genesis flood.